All right, man. And this is the fourth installment of this series. And I'm just talking from the heart here. We as men, it is time to wake up. It is time to wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. What am I talking about? What I'm saying is that we have to understand that as men, it is high time for us to recognize the situation around us and say, what are we going to do? I'm tired of talking. I mean, I'm so tired of talking. When I start talking, I get irritated because I'm asking myself, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? If we were all on a ship and the ship was going down, are we just going to talk? Or are we going to do something? We're going to get off our butts and do what needs to be done to keep the ship afloat. That's where we're at right now. Manhood, the image has been so marred in this country. It's been so marred in our society that it's unrecognizable. That is a place of concern. That's red lights flashing because you know what? Our society, the implications are all around us. And it's because manhood has been so marred. And so that's why it is imperative for right now. I don't care what's going on. And you say, well, I have this, I have that. I have these things going on. What I'm saying is that it is an imperative. Manhood is an imperative. What does that mean? That means that wherever you're at, you need to drop what's going on and say, what is going on? Am I walking in the manhood that I need to be walking in? And I say that because I had to do that myself. You could be in any station of life. You're living life. You have your job. You have your family. Maybe you just graduated college. You have your dreams and your goals and your visions, but you don't have manhood. You know what your life should be? It should be stopping right there and saying, you know what? I can't move forward until I've at least understood what it is to be a man, and then I've taken the steps necessary to come into manhood. It is imperative. We are no longer able to have men in 40s, 50s, 60s who have not stepped in, and I'm saying this truthfully, who have not stepped into the place of manhood, who are still acting like boys because they're boys on the inside, because there was no one that trained them into manhood. There was no one that called them into manhood. And so unfortunately, they lived their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, 50s. Still in a place of adolescence. What does that look like? Right? Still playing video games at 55 years old. And again, I don't care if you have to say something. I don't care at this point because again, the ship is sinking. We need to save the ship. It is time for men to wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. So that means wherever you are at right now, it's time to wake up. It's time to say, it's time to take status of your manhood. And that may be a daunting thing, okay? I understand it. It was extremely daunting for me. If you've seen any of my other videos, it was a very daunting thing for me because I had not been challenged in that place. I had not encountered that. But when I at least made the decision, and God began to help me and walk me through that process, the journey I began to walk out the journey, and God began to equip me in various aspects where I began to be empowered in the aspects of manhood. I understood what it meant to serve. I understood what it meant to be committed. I understood what it meant to be loyal. I understood what it meant to get up and find a job and work that job and be the best at that job. I understood what it meant to be the man that a woman would want to marry. I understood what it meant to be a man who would say, okay, this is how I want to raise my children. And this is how I'm going to live my life with my family. This is what I want my legacy to be. 50, 60 years of marriage. How do you do that? You have to be a man to do that. Boys don't do that. You know, and you know what? Let me talk on that for a moment. This gets me so upset because we as men are so fickle and we're so weak as men. You know what a true man is? A true man is I believe a man who's been married for 30, 40, 50 years. and can, and can look and say, you know what? He can look you in the eye and say, I've loved that woman for 50 years. That's a tough thing. That's an enduring thing. that is a committed thing. A lot of men can't do that. Why? Because we allow our own pursuits to draw us away. But a true man, and I've seen true men who it wasn't about the fame and the flash and all that. That's why I love having these basic rings, because you know what? They had basic rings, but their true value as men was that they could say, I was committed to that woman for 50 years. These are the types of things, these are the types of more or less trophies of manhood. And I'm not saying this to make it appear that it's about some type of victory in that respect. Please hear me right. But there are places where we as men should aspire to. We as men should aspire to say, I'm going to be able to be in a relationship for the rest of my life. That's a man. You got all these guys running around here, this woman there, can't stay here, this doing that. That's not manhood. That's a man just seeking his own desire. What is that? And you have to make your own decisions and say, how am I going to live my life as a man? The decision is before you. And I feel this. The decision is before you. How am I going to live? How am I going to live my life as a man? Am I going to live my life dependent upon the next man to do my job? If anyone's played football, you understand, I can't let the next man do my job. I have to do my job on the field, because if I don't do my job, they're going to get the touchdown and we can lose the game. It's the same in this life as men. If I'm depending upon the next man, if I'm depending, and I'm making this plain and clear, if I'm depending upon the politician to defend my rights, and I'm speaking to myself, then I'm not stepping in, I'm not owning my place in society as a man. If I'm depending upon the church to raise my children, then I'm not stepping into the place as a man. If I'm depending upon the teacher to teach my children, my God, the places that we as a society have gone to because we've allowed teachers to teach our children, not just math and science, but good and evil, right and wrong. This is where we as men have to draw the line. We have to draw the line and say, what type of man am I going to be? You may be 20 years old. The question is, what type of man are you going to be? There may be some young guys watching this. You may be 12, 13, 14 years old. What type of young man, what type of man do you aspire to be? What type of men do you see? And I challenge you, if you haven't seen it, seek it out. What type of man have you seen that you want to be? You might be in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s and feel like you're beyond something, or that you've missed out, or that you messed up, but there's still time. What type of man do you want to be? These are the questions that we as men have to address, because when we address them, we can then begin to see that there is possibility. There's possibilities that God, if we turn to God, seek Him, His ways. Manhood you can see it clearly within this nation. There's been a bevy of manhood in the early parts of this nation and throughout many periods of this nation. World War II, I can say right offhand, right off the bat. There's been periods of manhood, but it is for us as men to recognize and to say, I want this journey. And that is a place where God can meet us. Even in the places where we say, God, I don't even want to touch that. It's been years. It's been so many years, I don't even know if I can touch it. God will do it. He will do it on the inside of us. So I challenge you. I challenge you. I challenge you. Make the decision. Allow it to be something that God is then able to build on the inside of you, the manhood, the character aspects, so that we can right this ship in this nation and see manhood rise once again.